In this week's episode of the Working with Todoist, it's all about best practices. Hello and welcome to episode 138 of my Working with Todoist series. My name is Carl Pauline, and in this week's episode I want to go through 5 best practices of using Todoist. Now this is designed to help you to get the most out of this fantastic application. But the only way we're going to do that is if you actually use it in the most efficient and effective way. And so what I've put together in this week's episode is 5 best practices that you can use to help you to get the most out of Todoist. Now, these are based on my usage of Todoist. Now, for you, you may have other best practices that actually work for you. But what I've found is over the years that I've been using Todoist, and indeed in my previous life of using OmniFocus, these 5 things that I'm going to show you in Todoist actually have helped me to find that Todoist is in the background organizing my life for me while I can focus on the truly important things in my life. So this is not really a system, this is just things that I would recommend that you regularly do, if not every single day. Certainly how you put together your projects, how you put together your labels and things like that. And hopefully this will give you some idea of how to get the most out of Todoist. Now, before we go any further, I would just like to say, if you like this video, please click on the like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. Okay, let's get straight into Todoist and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, the first best practice that I can offer you is don't date everything. Only date tasks that either must be done or you would like to do. Now, if you take a look at my filters, because the reason I'm using my filters here is because you don't need to see my routines. By the way, anyone watching this now, if you want to filter out a specific label or project or anything else, all you need to do is add this exclamation mark right here. You can probably just see it here. The exclamation mark says, so in case you want to read this filter, it means all tasks that are labeled at home and not routine, because I don't want to see my routines when I use my filters. Because if I use my let's go into my labels, I can quickly show you this is going wrong here because I'm already, so if I show this, I got loads of stuff in here which would actually be routines like here, but I don't want to see those, so I use my filter to remove the labels, because routines, as you know by now, do not take my life further forward. So okay, if you look at this, what I've done is I've got a number of tasks here which actually have dates, because these are actually things that I want to do. So in here I've got restart my diet. Trust me, I really do need to restart my diet. I have gained a lot of weight over the holidays. So that begins on Monday, because I'm still suffering a little bit from jet lag. A tickler here which I've got is get my hair trimmed, and so I get my hair trimmed by my wife every 2 weeks, and so the next one is on the 19th of January. And then here I've got my scheduled tasks for cleaning my boots and shoes and so on. Now over here though, these are tasks which actually don't have any dates. They're all done at home. Now the reason I do this is because if I've had a particularly productive day, I can go into my label at home, or in this case my filtered label of home, and I can just start going through these lists, because there's no date, there's no rush. I don't need to date everything. These are just what I would call discretionary tasks if I've got the time. Now, actually, to be honest, I do have a project which I call Project Minimalism, which I'm working on this year. So if I go into my home projects folder here, Project Minimalism here, none of these have dates because I haven't started doing it yet. I will probably start doing it actually tomorrow by throwing away all my old computer boxes which are on top of my wardrobe, but I haven't made a decision on that yet. So for the moment I'm just the only thing I do know is that these can be done at home and as and when. So I put a label at home, but I haven't given them a date. So you don't need to date everything. Now there is one caveat here. If you actually need something just to start the project on a specific date, for example, let's say this project minimalism I want to start tomorrow, so I can just type in Tom and that will start the project off. Now you can do that, and actually that's true, that's what I want to do, is start this tomorrow. So I've actually given that a date now of tomorrow, but I don't need to date everything else. I just need to date that one task, which will bring it up tomorrow. So there's the first task that I will give you. Don't date everything. Only date tasks that either must be done or you would like to do, or in this case you need a reminder to start the project. So that's the first one. Okay, number 2, likewise, is don't label everything. So if I go over here, you'll notice that I actually have a lot of tasks in here which don't have any labels. And that's because I'm not ready to start them, but they are going to start in the near future. Now, of course, I've got all my inbox ones here. I've got my goals here, which I never label my goals because they're just there. But if I go down here a little bit more, I've got like online courses. None of these have labels because I'm not ready to develop or start the project yet, and I just don't need them coming up in the view because I will get round to them as and when they are needed. So there are a lot of things in here, like this is project minimalism, but I've got like email mastery course, review the which I'm doing for my language company. I haven't started the project yet. I haven't reviewed the project. These things will start happening very soon. So again, like with dates, if you're not going to do them in anywhere in the near future, then just don't label them, so that if you're using a pure GTD system, they're not going to show up in your views, like your label view, so you're not going to do them. I've got here redesigned name cards for myself and my wife for our company. You know, there's no rush for this. We've got plenty of name cards left, but it's just something that I will get round to sooner or later. But I don't want it cluttering up my view right now. I'm not ready to do it, so it's there, but it will need doing sometime in the future. Again, this is something that's completely up to you, but I've found that if I don't want to see something, I don't date it, and I'm not going to label it. That way I can avoid seeing tasks when I'm going through my labels and I want to get on with work. So as in case here, I've got computer here. Computer is my biggest label. Now I can just get on with these tasks knowing that they are meaningful at this moment in time. Anything that's not meaningful or not useful isn't there, and if I really want to find it, I can go into the project. Let's move on to number 3. Now this one's a very interesting one. Let's go into my today view today. Use the priority 1 flag sparingly. Only add it to tasks that you absolutely must do. So I've got here part of a routine, but it's actually write the script for my podcast episode. I haven't done it yet. I'm running out of time because usually I publish the podcast on Monday. So this is a priority 1 task that must be done today. So I will decide on what I'm going to do for the podcast and I'll write the script based on that. So that's something that is absolutely must to do. But as you can see from my today view here, I've only actually got 1 task is with the red flag. Be very, very sparingly with that. My advice for a best practice is never have more than 3 red flags per day, and make sure that you actually get those done on that particular day. All the other ones are okay, they still need to be done. Depends how you use your label, your flags. As most of you followed this series know that I use my orange flag means morning, my yellow flag means afternoon, and everything else is evening, or doesn't matter when I need to do it. But the task that I need to do in the morning, now I'm suffering a little bit from jet lag. I only arrived back in Korea yesterday, so I'm a little bit out of sorts. It is the early evening. I think it's what time? Well, it's not early evening, it's late evening when I'm recording this, so I haven't done my invoices and I didn't clean the back of the TV and Mathis. But hey, what the hell? I'm still a little bit on holiday. So that was number 3. Use your priority flag sparingly. Number 4 is make use of the email feature in Todoist. It is the most important. I think it's one of the most powerful features of Todoist because we all get a lot of videos coming in, a lot of emails coming in from your various things that you have to do. So I've got one here which was a mentoring inquiry, which is an email that I need to respond to. It's very important and it is at the top of my inbox. I've also sent one which I've got a working with productivity video to post this week. I've got an email related to that which is gone into my inbox. You know, without that, this is telling me these two emails are the most important emails for this weekend, and I will get them to do. I've got another one down here, Your Digital Life 2.0 promo podcast, which I will be doing soon. Again, this is an important email which I will get done over the weekend. So make full use of your email in Todoist. If you're curious about emails, what I'll do is go into my inbox. You can get your email by going to email task to this project from the set projects action label up at the top here. You click on that and you'll get a unique link which you can now copy to your keyboard, and that's where you will get all the details. Now, incidentally, on this you can actually get one for any project. So if I go into my work project here and click on here, and I can get the email task to this project. I don't recommend using that. Only use the inbox one, because you do want to be able to process all the emails that you forward to your inbox. So that's something that you need to do. And the final one is make sure you process your inbox every 24 to 48 hours. This is actually quite long for me, because I was on a long flight from basically Thursday morning, and so I've been collecting things as I've been traveling, and I'm just getting myself sorted out. But by tomorrow, or certainly maybe by this end of this evening, these will all have been processed and put into their projects, and I will be well on my way to being ready to hit the road running on Monday morning. So there you go. Those are my 5 best practices for using Todoist. Now, to be fair, a lot of these things could be used with any to-do list manager, but these ones are more specific to using Todoist. Now, so I'll just go through those 5 for you. Don't date everything. Only date the tasks that you really absolutely must be done or would genuinely like to do on a specific day. If there's no date sensitivity towards a task, then just don't date it. Likewise with labels, if you want to keep your list clean so that you can actually work on tasks very quickly, is if you're not going to be doing a task in the next month or 2, then just don't label it so it's not going to come up in your views. Use the priority 1 flag sparingly. Only go to a maximum of 3. If you go over 3, it's just going to become a list that you're not going to do. And make sure that you actually make sure that you do those tasks that are on your priority 1 flag. Number 4 is make full use of the email to Todoist feature. Make sure you use the inbox one rather than for specific projects, because it can get very, very confusing. You save the email address in your contacts list under the name Todoist, and it's really quick to send the task or the email to Todoist. And finally, make sure you process your inbox every 24 to 48 hours. If you leave it any longer than that, several things happen, but the 2 biggest ones is the list just becomes an unmanageable mess. And the second one is that you start wondering, what the hell was that about? For example, this is one that I collected, I think while I was waiting for a flight in Paris. Fortunately, that KO tells me that it's Korean, and I realize, yep, this is actually for my students, but it could have been anything like that. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your inbox. Make sure you're processing it. If you're sitting in an airport lounge or you're actually on a plane, although you're offline, you can still actually process, and as soon as you're next online, it will update. Okay, hopefully you found this useful. Please forgive my voice, it's a bit croaky today because I don't know what time of day it is. It just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week.